Hello, my fellow rebels. Welcome to the Beauty Confidential Lounge for the visionary who desires sacred alignment. I am your host, Chaitali Desai, and let's get to it. Today, let's I want to delve into change. And for a little bit of context, let me give you a bit of a backstory if you haven't heard. I finally got the confidence to change my hair. Meaning I cut it a little, but I changed the color. It's a little bit caramelly, a little bit mocha-y, very toasty, loving it. But the reason change came into the conversation is because this is something that I have been wanting to do forever, forever, but I wouldn't take the step. And I know this is going to be a very simplistic example for a much bigger conversation, but that's okay because this is important. It's the simple things. If we can kind of, what's the word I want to use? If we can dance along the simplistic route of change, it makes the big things a lot easier to change. In my experience, in the experience that I've seen with over multiple hundreds of clients, if you can start shifting your ideas, your beliefs, your thoughts on small things that are in the grand scheme of things inconsequential, like changing my hair color, makes big things easier. So that's the backstory of why this conversation is happening, just in case you didn't know. Now, you would think it's just hair, right? Just change it, color it, dye it, cut it, whatever. We all know I use really great products, so it would come back, no problem. But the belief I had about change, the reason why I would stop myself from doing it countless times, and guys, I mean, we're talking years. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous just how long I have avoided it because of the next statement. I thought it was going to be hard. I thought the change would be hard, so I didn't do it. How ridiculous is it? And that is the key thing that needs to be shifted. The concept of change, the idea behind change being difficult. There is some saying, and I know I've used it before, and for that, I need to apologize. I want to apologize. And it goes something along the lines of, this is hard and that is hard. Choose your hard. I understand the premise of the concept, the premise of that idea. But here's what I don't accept anymore. It's not the change itself that's hard. It's our belief of the change. Everything is associated to belief. Mindset comes down to belief. Your success in life will come down to your beliefs. I mean, I can go on. And this year, I'm really going to be deep diving into this. So stay tuned. There's so many changes coming down the pipeline. But for today, let's talk about this belief that change is hard. As humans, as we've evolved from like our caveman era, the Paleolithic era, then to change probably was hard. It probably was scary, primarily because if you went out and you exerted all this energy, then when you actually needed to step into the energy of, oh my God, a saber-toothed tiger is chasing me, would you have the energy to do it? We don't know, right? So our brain is still holding on to those concepts. And because of that, now when we look at change, your brain wants to protect you, which is cool. It's excellent. But it's stopping you from doing these simple changes, taking these simple steps to make these changes. Are you with me? We're not cavemen. We're not needing to conserve our energy in the event that a saber-toothed tiger chases us. That's not there anymore. And that's really important to understand in order to create these changes that we want. It's the belief that it's going to be hard. So here are some ways that I have been working through it, that I've helped others work through it, and we're just going to use my hair example because it's relevant for me. And, it's again, it's an easy one to work with. So while I'm sharing how I work through this, I want you to think of what's an easy thing that you've been wanting to change, but you've been holding yourself back because you're like, oh my God, it's going to be so hard. Yeah. So let's talk about this. I didn't change my hair because I thought maintaining it would be difficult. It would be hard. So instead, I just would cut it, or I would just, keep it the same, whatever. I colored the hair. Nothing has changed. It's the same maintenance. Maybe I have to see the hairdresser a little bit more. Fine. Or the hairstylist, whatever. Fine. But my actual day to day hasn't changed. I still wash it, brush it, pop it in a mom bun. Typically, before I go on any kind of camera, I'll pull it down, sort of straighten it out. I have to add a new shampoo, which is really cool. That's fine. My company just launched a brand new product specifically to help with colored hair. Perfect timing. So I have to add one more shampoo, but everything else has stayed the same. But all this time, I didn't make the change because I thought it was going to be hard. So let's extrapolate from this simplistic concept, right? Because the questioning is going to be the same. And here's the questioning. One, is it really hard, or is it me just thinking it's going to be hard? Okay, let's take it from the hair to the gym. You know, like when you watch those people who are there every day and you can see their progress, right? Visually, their muscles are starting to show, all the things. They've embraced change. Not only did they embrace change, they know that it's necessary in order to get those results. You cannot, typically, you're not going to every day, day in and out, use the same amount of weights, use the same amount of reps, and expect something different, right? It's not going to happen. So they change the weights. Is it going to be hard? Probably the first time because it's heavier. Or maybe they kept the weights the same and they increased their repetitions. Is it going to burn? Yeah. But they accept, they embrace, they acknowledge that, yes, it's going to be a little bit more difficult in the moment, but the benefits are going to be massive. Literally, from the physique, how they feel about themselves, their confidence, see the ripple effect? Fascinating. But they accepted the change. It's not just about what you desire to shift. That's not what makes it hard. It's the belief that the change itself is going to be hard. And when you hear this, as I'm saying it, it's a little ridiculous. Like, I have to laugh at myself. It took me this long to make these changes because I thought it was going to be difficult. Not that the change itself was going to be difficult. The belief. It is the belief that it was going to be hard. And it's funny because I've helped so many people embrace change. But then when it came for myself, I was like stuck. And I had to use my own technique to help me get through it. So let's continue down this process. So the first thing is question it. Is it the actual change that's difficult, or is the thinking about the change what's holding you back? 1. 2, where in you're going to brainstorm this one. Where in your life are you desiring change? Are you like me and it's your hair color? Or maybe it's, well, the gym's always there, right? Like your health and fitness journey. Maybe it's your eating habits. Maybe it's drinking water. as simplest as that sound, that's a difficult thing for many of us, remembering to drink enough water. Why? Oh, it's going to be, I have to go, and you come up with whatever story you want to come up with. A usual one for water is that it's boring, right? So you don't change the habit of drinking more water because, it's water. Well, can't you fancy it up? Then you think, okay, but that's going to take time. So that change may be difficult. Again, it's the belief. It's the belief. You must build that habit of shifting the belief. So how do you do that? Well, there's quite a few ways. You guys know how much I love EFT, emotional freedom technique, tapping. And if that's something that you're interested in, you'll see below I'm offering you a complimentary clarity call to see how I can support you. Or if you want to just kind of brainstorm through different ways of implementing simple changes in your life, I'll be offering that. And so check the show notes. But you can use tapping. You can use good old pen to paper and journal it in daily. Change comes easy to me. I embrace change. I welcome change. You can do a combination. could do a meditation, a hypnosis. There are so many ways to walk yourself through that. But the first thing is to acknowledge the belief that the majority of us are holding on to, and that it is the change itself will be difficult. So shift the thoughts. A really great book I had read maybe 5-6 years ago, and it's still relevant now, is the book by David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. If you read that book, essentially he came down to the point where he's like, okay, well, I'm either going to stay in this like shithole, basically, as he puts it, or I'm going to shift it and I'm going to go after what I want. The changes that he made, I read that book and I remember turning to my husband afterwards. I'm like, wow, I need to be intense. I'm not intense enough. I'm not intense at all. Forget enough, right? My husband, without skipping a few steps, style, he stops what he's doing. He looks at me and he's like, if you get any more intense, I'm not going to be happy. He used more colorful language, but for this context, and the whole time, all I could hear was, my husband thinks I'm intense, and I'm over here thinking I need to be intense. It was so crazy. But the reason I share that story is because reading that book, it was just a funny, conversation that happened. But after reading that book, I'm like, damn, if he can get up at David Goggins, if he can get up at that weight, at that level of inactivity, and now this guy's like an ultra marathon person. Okay, change may not be easy, but it's simple. And it starts by shifting the belief that it's going to be difficult. And all of that together may sound a bit counterintuitive or a bit opposite. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a conflicting thought here, but it's not. And let's break that down. So you're thinking, okay, the change is going to be difficult to make, but reality, one decision. And it's changing the belief that, you know what? Yes, the change may be a little bit more work, but what's the benefit? Is it worth taking the extra moments, right? Putting on extra in the gym, extra reps, an extra 5 minutes with my hair. So this is another question I want you to journal. Is staying the same worth it? Or will making the change be worth it? And it's an important question to ask yourself, because so often, we think we want these changes, but what's going to be the reward? For me, it's a whole new love for my hair. I imagine for David Goggins, it's like, it's just probably everything for him. People in the gym who are like getting the physique they want, the change that they have to make in their weights, in their rep, perhaps in their eating, totally worth it. So what's the reward? So think about okay, so let's recap this. I want you to think about what is the first easiest, and I use air quotes for that. What is the most simplest change that you can make, that you want to make? Even if it's something as simple or as like silly, maybe as changing your hair color. Then what's your thought behind it? Do you actually think the change itself is going to be difficult? Or do you think your responsibility for the change will be more difficult? And if you're still holding on to, it's going to be too hard, what's the reward you're getting for staying in that position? Meaning, let's take David Goggins. He could have stayed in that lifestyle where he was super miserable, super unhappy. What would have been his reward? Would not have been, well, it would have been more pain, right? More suffering. If you guys haven't read the book, again, it's called Can't Hurt Me. But he shifted into the change. Equally, well, in my opinion, ultra marathons seem very painful because it's not my thing. But he developed that mindset that, yes, this might be hard, but this is less hard than staying miserable, right? So his reward was that he was able to build this physique, build this mindset shift that was like, yeah, this might be difficult, but this is so much better for me and so much more rewarding. So, what is it for you? Where is the reward? What is the reward? Either for you to stay the same or to move into that next level. And really take the time to think through these things. Take the time to allow your subconscious mind to share, like, hey, you know, it's not going to be as hard. You'll hear that whisper. It's like this feeling you'll get, or at least for me, it's like a feeling like, oh, okay, I can do this. And then, great, what's my first step? Well, for my hair, find a hairstylist. Second step, book it. Book a consultation, which I did because I didn't have any clue what I wanted to do. Third, book the actual appointment. Four, show up. Show up for any change you want to make in life. Something simple, something more difficult. And for those who are going through more difficult things, if you need the support, get the support. Get the help to make those changes. Because really, at the end of the day, the greatest reward is you get to look at yourself and say, damn, I did it. Like, yes. Something I really want you to contemplate. I would save this episode if you, in your favorites, because it's something that you can come back to time and time again. The process is simple. It's not always easy, but stepping through it gives you a whole level of confidence. It gets rung on the confidence. And again, if I can support you at all, book your call with me. Complimentary, 15 minutes, laser focused. Let me support you. And if there is ways that we could work together, I'm happy to share that. But that clarity call itself, I know is going to be beneficial for you because I've seen it with so many other clients. The key is to start understanding it is not the change that is difficult. It is your belief around the idea of changing. And once you start to shift that belief, you recode yourself, you rewire your brain for the success. No matter what it is, even if it's as simple as changing your hair color. I'm really excited to hear what you guys change, how you evolve. What's that next step for you? So come back and share. I'll drop all my details in the show notes, and I'm really excited to see what 2023 will hold for you. I'm thrilled. I can't even wait to see what it's going to hold for me. So if this episode resonated with you at all, please be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Like always, I'm wishing you a beautiful day. Remember, be like the phoenix. And let's go.